Hi guys, welcome back to the Stickman Sessions podcast. This week I had a nice long chat with Phil Cooper, who is a UK-based singer and songwriter. You may well be familiar with some of his work already. He's been on the scene for quite a while, producing his own music, writing his own songs, performing live across the UK. He's also done some pretty impressive support gigs in recent years. So we had basically an in-depth chat about all the best ways to self-promote as an indie musician or an indie band. So that was how to kind of utilise the platforms, which platforms have been the most effective for him, what not to do, what works, what doesn't work, and just generally how to balance the whole business side of things with the creative side and not lose that initial passion that kind of drew you to music in the first place. So I'm sure you'll find something beneficial in the conversation that we had, and as always, do let us know in the comments if you've got any follow-up questions or any thoughts on the topic in general. Thank you very much for tuning in, and yeah, enjoy. When did you first start actively kind of playing music live and promoting yourself and, you know, pursuing music in that regard?
Oh, crumbs! I've been playing for getting on 20 years or so now, but I guess it all started to get a bit more serious 10, 12 years ago when I was in a band called the Haiku.
Right.
And that was when we first started doing things like travelling around the country and doing tours and stuff.
Yeah.
And that lasted about 8 years and kind of reached a natural end, really. There was no animosity or anything at the end of it, just kind of reached a natural end. We went our separate ways and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I did my solo stuff, and that was about 5-6 years ago now.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's been pretty much non-stop ever since for me.
Yeah, for sure. You're definitely one of the most active musicians that I follow, which is really nice to see. I didn't realise it went that far back, to be honest. I didn't realise you'd been playing quite so long. I think.
Yeah, well, I'm 38 now, which is old for the music business, but
you're I think I looked on your YouTube today, and your video is on your channel. Only is it about 3 years back that you started uploading on there?
Yeah, probably that sounds about right. Yeah, that would have been with the album, The Things I'll Never Say. I guess that would have been the start of it all.
Yeah. So when you were in the band, then actually that's really interesting. So you toured around the UK, I take it.
Yeah, not quite to the extent that I have been doing solo.
Yeah.
But we used to take sort of a week or two to travel. I think we used to sort of stick around from the Midlands down, because obviously we're based sort of near Bristol.
Yeah.
So we've been. We used to sort of travel up to Birmingham and the Midlands and stuff, and then we'd go down into the southeast and so on. We ventured up to Manchester and Liverpool a couple of times. Okay, cool.
And is there a major difference for you with regard to touring with a band and now kind of touring of your own accord and sorting everything out yourself?
Well, I in terms of sort of the arrangement, I used to do all the arrangement anyway, just because. It's better if one person does it, and I seem to have the kind of, you know, that kind of brain,
yeah,
to do all the chasing and stuff. But in terms of the actual touring itself, it's a lot freer actually being solo.
Okay.
Just in terms of, because, you know, it's not a big country, and you're only travelling like 2 hours a day maybe.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot of spare time. So I've sort of taken up walking a lot more and taking in the countryside, which is really nice. Because there's so many nice walks and stuff in this country.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, when I started touring solo 3 years ago or whatever, that was a big eye opener, and it kind of helped keep me relaxed on tour, I think.
Nice. So it probably might be hard to think back, but why music, and what was it that kind of drew you to music, and what is it that keeps you involved and keeps you passionate about it?
Well, music's always been a part of my life, so it's difficult to pinpoint it. But I've been surrounded by music my entire life. My dad played in a band long before I was born. My brother is 7 years older than me, and he plays guitar. And my mum just has a massive passion for listening to music, so we always had music on in the house and in the car and everything.
Yeah.
So I was surrounded with it from day one, really.
Okay.
And then I started singing in a church choir when I was 7. So that kind of got me into singing, got me into the theory of music and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And then when I got to sort of 10 or 11, I followed in my dad's footsteps and picked up a guitar and started writing pretty much from the time that I could string 2 chords together. I was always a very creative child, writing little stories and poems and so on, right from 6 or 7.
Right, amazing. So can you remember the first song that you wrote back then?
I remember it being a sort of a typical 11-year-old's simplistic view of let's make the world better.
Oh.
That's pretty much all I remember about it. It had 2 chords in it.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
probably C and G probably.
Yeah.
But
nice.
and I remember sitting in a school open evening, sitting in the corner of the sort of assembly hall in an open evening, just playing this one song over and over all night.
Oh, that's really nice. There's no footage of it at all, or any? You don't have it recorded?
No. This was sort of early 90s. People didn't really carry that sort of stuff around.
Ah, fair enough. Oh, that's really nice. So, if we fast forward a little bit to today, then.
Yes.
Do you tour, or do you just gig kind of endlessly and book as you go along?
Well, it's kind of changed over the last year. I used to basically just just play relentlessly. Mostly sort of around this area, because obviously that makes sense. And then that was interspersed every sort of 3 months or so with jaunts a bit further away.
Yeah.
But over the last year, I've been a bit more picky about what gigs I take. I think because I've picked up a few really good support slots, and I've kind of been a bit spoilt by playing for some nice big appreciative audiences.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of spoilt some of the ones where you're only playing to 2 men and a dog.
No, but fair enough. So it gave you a taste of the biggest stage.
Yeah, and I think I've always seen touring as a way to build a fan base.
Yeah.
And increasingly over the last couple of years, I've seen less people sort of willing to go out and take a chance on a new band, or at least in my experience, right. I've seen less people just coming along. I've had some hardcore fans, or people that I know coming back to gigs and stuff.
Yeah.
But fewer and fewer new people.
Okay, that's interesting.
And so that's kind of changed my view of gigging and touring and so on.
That's quite.
So I'm reining it in a lot now.
Yeah, that's strange, because I guess now, more than like 10, 15 years ago, it's a lot easier to let people know about your gig.
Yeah, and
media.
I guess that sort of, like everything with social media, it kind of helps you out, but it also means you're fighting amongst a lot more people.
True.
For everyone's attention. The noise on social media, you've got to try and get above it, and I seem to be able to do that a lot better in other ways than get people along to my gigs. So I've just kind of felt I'm just going to concentrate on the other areas, the ones that I seem to be good at.
So let's talk about that then. What are the areas that you're good at and that you've seen kind of a positive impact in?
Well, Twitter is a sort of a bit of a success story, I guess.
Yeah.
I hit 10,000 followers this year.
Yeah, you're massive on Twitter. Everyone's always shouting you out.
Yeah. Well, this is I've found Twitter to be the best place to kind of single out people that are likely to like you. So every day I do searches for people who like Crowded House, people who like Squeeze, REM, and countless other bands.
Yeah.
And people who are talking about them, you know, so they obviously like them enough to talk about them online. And I follow them.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I've built that following. And it seems to have worked. You know, I've gained a couple of super fans who will travel like 2 or 3 hours to come and watch me play through that.
Amazing.
And so on. And it's and like you say, I'm very, very active on there.
So what do you do once you've followed them? Do you send them a message, or do you wait for them to follow you back, or what's the next step?
Well, yeah, I kind of wait for them to follow me back. I go against all kind of marketing knowledge when I don't send direct messages or anything, which is, you know, a lot of people that I've seen have said, yeah, you should send people direct messages, but I hate it when I get them.
Right.
So I feel like I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So I just chat and you know, and I keep an eye on the timeline and jump in occasionally when someone's talking about something that I feel I can add something to.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't see any that's the point is I'll only sort of chip in if I feel like actually got something worthwhile to say, because that kind of authenticity is what drives people towards me, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And it's rare as well, so you're not just sort of spamming them with your music, you're actually engaging in conversations with them and, you know, being part of the community.
Yeah, and I must admit, I post a lot of statuses saying, if you like this band, check me out, and they're always very successful. They always seem to get responses and stuff. So that's kind of how I hook people in once they're following me, I guess. Okay,
cool. So how often do you upload new content, like new songs or new videos, excluding your live stream sessions? Just you know.
Well, I try to put content on YouTube every week. It's not necessarily new songs or anything, but I try to just keep people up to date and just talk about the music industry. And I've actually interviewed a couple of artists myself, and so on. The fact the one I put out today was an interview with another songwriter.
I just saw. I think that's the one I just watched. Actually, was it your Sunday morning?
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, just the kind of the theory of songwriting and just how different people approach it. I find that fascinating anyway. And if I find it fascinating, I'm sure other people will.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's kind of why I do that. But I've made, in terms of new music, I've made a conscious effort this year to be writing more stuff and move away from building collections for an album and put singles out on a more regular basis.
Okay.
Just kind of keep the momentum going. I could spend all year writing an album, or I could put new music out every month or 2 months, or
without worrying whether it fits into a certain concept for your album. You can just be a bit more free with it that way, I guess, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. It has given me a lot of freedom in terms of, you know, the styles, because I've always been into lots of different styles of music. And everything that I release is always going to sound like one of my songs, because, you know, what I write is an amalgam of everything I listen to.
Yeah.
But it gives me a chance to play around with it, instrumentation and things like that, without worrying, is this going to sit next to another track, and so on.
Yeah, for sure. It's always going to have your style to it, but that's quite interesting then. So you, I did a review of your album. How long ago was that then?
That was the Things I'll Never Say.
What was the one before that?
The one before? Oh, Half Live.
Oh, maybe it was Things I'll Never Say. Sorry, I can't.
Yeah,
double check.
I did Half Live back in 2014.
Oh, okay.
Things I'll Never Say in 2016, and then Thoughts and Observations in 2018.
No, it was Thoughts and Observations, I thought, was it not? last year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it might. Yeah,
That's the one that rings a bell.
I think you did. I think you did review Half-Life as well at some point.
Okay, I've definitely heard.
But that was ages ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, Thoughts and Observations was sort of the latest album.
Yeah, but there were definitely threads throughout, I think, all your work, which is nice, and that's why I like it, and I guess that's why other people like it. You've got a certain style, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. I've always been a fan of the pop song, and I guess that kind of is what shines through, those little hooks, and people often say that I write earworms, which is I take as a compliment. Yeah,
for sure. So you've had quite a bit of like success with radio. I know you've been played on BBC Six. Is it more than a couple of times, or?
Yeah, it was a couple of times. Tom Robinson played "Shake It Up" from Thoughts and Observations.
Nice.
Couple of times in January.
How did you get? Sorry, go on.
No, it's fine. I was just going to say, and then BBC Introducing in the West played my this year's sort of first single, which was "If the Glove Fits." Yeah.
And how did you just upload them to their websites, or did you have a connection, or did you send a private email? Like, how did you get that to happen?
No, I upload loads of stuff to the BBC Introducing uploader.
Yeah.
Which any independent musician releasing music should do.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want them on the BBC system?
Yeah, for sure.
So everyone should do that. And then sort of at the end of last year, BBC Six. I followed BBC Six Music on Twitter, alongside a lot of sort of influential people like that, and they put out a status asking for recommendations for new artists, and I mentioned it on my Facebook page and on Twitter, and just said, hey, they're asking for new artists, go and give us a mention. And I think I got about 100 mentions on this thread, and obviously someone paid attention. I've since been told off for doing that a second time by Tom Robinson.
I saw that. I saw you screenshot it. Oh, that's awful. Never mind. Sure.
Oh, it's all right. I had a little chat with him on Twitter, and we're fine.
Oh, I think. Good. That's funny. Yeah, that's awesome. So you've been doing really well in a number of different. I guess as you said, it's mostly online. But how does the live performance side of it? Is it still something that you are passionate about, and that you choose your gigs a bit more?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, the reason I'm being selective is because it's that human connection is what drives me. With music is such a powerful social tool. It connects, people of different backgrounds, different beliefs. Just it speaks to something fundamentally in us.
Yeah.
And if I can be in a room full of people and be providing this thing that makes people happy and brings people together, then there's no other feeling like it. Which is why it's so disheartening to do the smaller, the less well attended gigs, and is why I'm being a bit more selective.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. How do you deal with kind of any negative responses that you get, whether it's online or at live shows? Like, does it? I mean, have you had any?
Touch wood. I can't remember the last time I had anything negative.
Okay.
So I guess I'm kind of the only accusation that might be thrown my way is that I'm a bit pleasant, because I know people like Coldplay and so on get that sort of thing, but I don't think I'm big enough to get that sort of thing thrown at me.
Oh, okay. You've got too much joy.
But no, I don't seem to get any negative stuff. So
nothing.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Awesome. So there's nothing. So you've never had any issues with kind of your confidence or anything like that? I know I only ask because
that's a different question.
Right.
Altogether.
Okay. Okay.
No, I've had to teach myself how to be confident on stage and so on. Right. I was never a confident child, really. Apart from when I was kind of acting, because I used to act quite a lot when I was younger as well.
Yeah.
But I never saw performing music as an act back then.
No.
And so I was very self-conscious and so on. And then something clicked. Something clicked about 7 or 8 years ago, and made me think, do you know what? Actually, this is just an act, isn't it? And the people have come to watch a show, so I'll deliver that show.
Right.
And it doesn't matter. And then my confidence just improved overnight.
Oh, amazing. So what, you kind of separated it from yourself and made it more of a...
Yeah.
This is...
Yeah, although you know, it's still very much me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not pretending to be anyone else.
No, but it's you on stage rather than you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a good point.
Yeah, absolutely that.
So, obviously you're in the choir as well. That didn't... that was what, you were 7, 8, did you say? So that was the first time you would have sung on stage, I assume? Was that way back?
Yeah, well, it was church choir, so every Sunday, and I kind of worked my way up, and by the time I was sort of 10 or 11, I was singing solos and things like that.
Were you the front person in the band as well?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was the main songwriter and front man.
So
well, we were only a 2-piece to start off with, so and the other guy was a drummer.
Yeah.
So
do you play with a band now ever, or is it always just you and the guitar?
Yeah. I've got a backing band, which is just a drummer and a bass player.
Okay. Cool.
My brother plays bass for me, so we get nice brotherly harmonies as well, which is obviously the whole Crowded House influence. I love that anyway.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. You've also, I think, did you support some pretty big names quite recently?
Yeah. In the last couple of years, I sort of seem to be regular support for the South now, which is formerly the Beautiful South.
Yeah.
Badly Drawn Boy last year, and the Blockheads last year.
That's awesome.
As well.
And
so yeah, those were the ones that kind of spoilt me a bit.
Yeah. Right. Okay. And that's not strictly your audience to begin with, is it? That's a new crowd kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, a couple of them were sort of local, so I had a few people in there, but a large amount of people that didn't know me at all.
That's amazing.
And yeah, it was nice. You know, I managed to get people singing along and you know, joining in and everything.
Yeah.
Which, you know, to get someone else's audience, 200 or 300 people joining in is nice.
Yeah, that's incredible. So there's obviously probably quite a lot of artists and musicians are looking to get that kind of gig. What was the process for getting involved with the South, for example, if we start with that?
Well, a lot of what I've been doing over the last 3 or 4 years is getting out and meeting people. And everyone says the music industry is not about what you know; it's about who you know.
Yeah.
And that's true to an extent, but you need to get out and meet those people. So you've got to put in the work. You know, you don't get those contacts by accident. I mean, some people are lucky, but you don't get those contacts by accident. So you just get out and you meet as many people, and you're just nice to everyone. And then, you know, a promoter's got a big name coming, and they go, oh, who can I get to support? Oh, I'll get Phil in. He's easy to work with. You know, he's just one man and a guitar. It'll be easy.
Yeah. So that's how it happened.
And that's how it happened. That's exactly how it happened.
Brilliant. That's really good advice. Was that the same for the others then as well? That you've just kind of gone around, you've met everyone.
Yeah.
Obviously made an impact.
Yeah, pretty much. And then with the South, it helped on the first time I supported the South. I was on the merch stand with their tour manager.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have anyone selling merch with them, so I was there selling my merch and he was selling their merch. So I struck up a good sort of conversation with him and got to know him, which kind of helped get the second and third ones as well.
Yeah.
Because obviously, you know, like I say, easy to get on with, put on a performance that was sort of worthy.
Yeah.
And Yeah. So be nice to everyone is the lesson here.
Yeah. No, I love that. Be nice. Obviously, you're talented, reliable, good energy. So no, that's really good. That's amazing. What?
Yeah.
What's kind of the aim for you? Like, I know you've done recently. You tried to you spent a day live streaming and trying to get your followers up on Spotify and other platforms.
Yeah.
Is there a number in your head that you seek, or is it just something fun to kind of get people involved and?
Well, the next sort of milestone is always the target. So 500 is still the target on YouTube, for instance.
Yeah.
But I just quicker and quicker growth is the, get to as many people as quickly as possible now.
So it's just small goals rather than a huge one that's far away.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I've consciously made an effort to not worry about kind of the traditional music industry route.
Yeah.
And kind of do it on a fan to fan basis. And now with the tools we've got, you can do that a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Whilst still maintaining that kind of one-to-one contact.
Have you ever used Facebook ads or any kind of sponsorship?
Yeah, all the time.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
What's been your experience of that? Have you had good results or?
Varied.
Right.
Varied results.
What would you say?
Depends what you're after, really.
Okay.
In terms of like promoting events and stuff, I've never found it useful.
Right.
In terms of driving people to your page and getting page likes up, that's pretty useful. And just boosting posts and so on.
Yeah. Would you have?
There's no.
Go on. Sorry.
There's no real way around Facebook now without boosting posts, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
If you want to make the most of it, you've got to at least stick a couple of quid on posts that you really want people to see.
Yeah, for sure. Do you find that you get the most, like the best response when you share just a clip of a video or like a photo or something, a bit of text about what you're up to? Like, what do you find?
Video's always good.
Yeah.
But I wish I was better at very short videos than I actually am. Because I could make use of Facebook and Instagram a lot more if I was better at those sorts of things.
In what way?
Just finding little short interesting things to say. I've got no problem just waffling on and
Oh, okay.
but in terms of just sharing very, very short interesting things.
Yeah.
I wish that's something I've got to work on because Facebook is very good. That's very good content for Facebook.
What? So
that short attention span stuff.
Yeah, a little 30-second clip is a good way to go. So not so much clips of you performing then, or clips of your songs or anything, more just kind of you talking to your potential audience.
Yeah, or if I'm in the studio, just a very quick,
Yeah.
Here's my brother. Here's Jack.
Yeah.
Drumming or
Nice.
or whatever. That sort of thing. But I'm always caught up in actually getting on with what I'm there to do.
No, that's fair.
I haven't got there. I think because I've sort of an age where this technology has come in whilst I've been, after my adolescence, where I think a lot of teenagers are very, very good at that kind of Instagram, very, very quick, make everything look like you're living the best life, kind of thing. And I guess that's because they're just used to it.
Yeah, I guess.
Whereas I'm used to just getting my head down and getting stuff done.
People probably like that as well, though, because it's a bit more real rather than we're not always living our best life. So it's
I guess so.
Good to share,
I guess it makes the stuff that I do share. Hopefully, it makes it more authentic when I actually do share something.
Yeah, that's it. So you said you were trying to write a little bit more at the moment. Are you a full-time musician, by the way? Is this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I Getting on for 4 years.
Okay.
Now I've been doing it.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How much time do you spend writing new songs as opposed to doing admin and booking gigs and stuff like that?
Well, I try to put a few hours aside every week to do some stuff. I'm always opening up. I use Google Drive for my little snippets of ideas and stuff. So I've got whole folders full of little rhyming couplets and stuff that I've never got around to using. And sometimes one of them will spark me off, and I'll have to pick up a guitar and get on with it. So I'm still really kind of stuck in the when it comes to me, I'll pick up the guitar. Yeah. But sometimes I do have to make a conscious effort to just try and write something.
But then if you've got all the kind of catalogue of ideas from the past, it's a little bit easier. You can just dig back into stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually this year I've been digging into that a lot more. I started doing a side project called BCC, Back Catalogue Collection, which is kind of electronic versions of some of my old songs that I've never really done anything with.
Oh, that's exciting.
And that was really for my own benefit. Just I found at the end of last year I found myself in a bit of a creative lull. So I figured, let's just do something completely different, try and kickstart my creativity, and it seemed to work. So yeah, I do release those, but I don't make a big thing about them. They're all out there for people to listen to if they want to.
But it's kind of for you.
It's for me. Yeah, it's to keep me interested, keep me fresh.
Yeah. How are your production skills then? Do you produce everything yourself? And is that something that you're still kind of developing?
Yeah, and actually I've started producing other people as well.
Oh, amazing.
A lot more. So someone I go on about on social media all the time is Jamie R. Hawkins, and I've produced his last 2 EPs and last 2 singles. And then this year I've started picking up more. Tamsin Quinn, she's just released a single that I mixed, and I've got another couple on the go that I'm working with now as well, which is nice because that kind of helps pay the bills when I'm being a bit more picky about gigs and stuff.
Yeah.
Because obviously that comes at a cost because I'm not earning if I'm not playing sometimes.
Yeah.
So if I can pick up the slack by doing something else that I love, which is mixing and production, then that's great.
Yeah, and you're still doing music. So do you enjoy that?
Absolutely.
In a different way, I guess, but doesn't feel like a chore for you. It's just a nice alternative.
Yeah, well, I've like I said, I've from a very early age I was songwriting, and also from a very early age, maybe in my mid-teens, I was recording stuff. My parents bought me a little Tascam 4-track tape recorder. And I was really interested then in how songs are put together and how layers go on top of each other. So again, it's something I've been fascinated with my entire life. This hearing different parts of a song and how they all fit together. Yeah,
that's really cool. What do you use? Are you an Ableton person or Logic?
I'm a Mac user with Logic.
Right, nice.
Mainly just because that's what my brother uses in his studio, so it just makes it easier for integration.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because we record the drums over in his studio, and then I come and do the vocals and stuff because my studio's a lot smaller.
Oh, nice. Do you play any other instruments? Do you play piano or drums or anything like that?
I can bash out a very basic beat on the drums. I'm not particularly good,
right.
And I'm a one-fingered piano player.
Okay.
I can.
Oh, nice.
Bing, bing. I've enough to program some stuff into Logic, but not enough to go out and perform.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Do you ever find that the marketing and business side of things affects your creativity or like your emotional connection to your songs?
Oh, for sure.
Right. In what way?
Last year, like I said, I had a massive creative lull, and that's because last year I'd had my business head on way too often.
Yeah.
And it got to the end of the year, and I was thinking, how many songs have I actually written this year? It's compared with the previous 20 years of my life where I've been really prolific, and it's not all good, but it's regular. And and then last year I think I could count on one hand how many songs I actually wrote last year, which was a real shock by the end of the year.
Yeah.
And I put that down to being so focused on the business side of it. So hopefully this year I'm striking a bit of a better balance.
Yeah. I guess it's a tricky one. So you're making time to write, and then you're also making time to be present with your audience online. How often?
Yeah, and making the decision to step back from a few gigs and stuff has really helped.
Yeah.
With that as well, because I'm not chasing things up all the time.
Right. So freeing yourself and that
frees me up a lot of time.
And realizing that you don't need to burn yourself out as well. Does that? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, that you can put in just as many hours if you're spending half of them being creative. You don't feel as tired because creativity is invigorating.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a nice way to put it. What would be your dream venue to play at?
Oh, crumbs. Well, I'd love to play one of the bigger stages at Glastonbury.
Right.
Something, in realistic terms, something like the Avalon stage at Glastonbury would be amazing.
Have you played at Glastonbury?
I've played some of the smaller stages.
Yeah.
To sort of a couple of hundred people.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Which is it's really nice, and again it's people who have never heard of me at all. And I had my little egg shakers with my name on, so hopefully a few of them
nice.
Ended up in people's tents and
that's
and
awesome.
so on.
Do you find you get a lot of people coming
Yeah.
to your website and your pages after a gig like that?
Well, I certainly noticed that when I've been touring, there's spikes in visits to my and likes on Facebook and so on.
Yeah.
So it's obviously doing something.
Yeah, I think that
it's difficult to quantify all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of the time though, it's kind of if you go to a gig. I mean, if you spin it around a potential other music fan, if you go to a gig like that's someone you've never heard of, but you have an amazing time and you're really impressed with them, then you might forget about it because you've got the rest of the weekend. But you then see their ad, I don't know, a week later, and you'd be like, oh, I remember that guy. And then
Well, I've now started actually saying to people, you've got your phone on you right now.
Yeah.
You can go online and you can like my page right now.
Yeah, it's so easy.
And it, I'll finish the gig and look, and I'll have a few extra likes.
Yeah, for sure. Nice. What's next for you then? What's your kind of? I guess we're more than halfway through this year, but what? I know you're only thinking in small goals ahead, but what's the main thing that you're working on at the minute, or that you're trying to kind of push towards?
We're recording next year's singles.
Yeah.
At the moment, so we started that this week, and we've got another session next week. So we should come away with 4 or 5 songs with drums.
Amazing.
And then I'll probably add a few without drums as well. So that'll give us sort of 7 or 8 songs for next year.
Nice.
I've already got 2 recorded and ready to release the rest of this year. I've got one coming out in 2 weeks' time.
Awesome.
Which is my first official cover version, actually.
Ooh.
I've decided to even more embrace the Crowded House, and I've recorded "Fall at Your Feet."
Oh, that's exciting. Will you?
So yeah, I'm hoping that will bring in a few extra people who will then go on to check out my other stuff.
Yeah. And so, do you guys have your own studio, or do you just rent the space out as and when?
My brother's got a small studio in his garage, and I've got a vocal booth here that's big enough to take a guitar in, so nice. I can record my acoustic and vocals in my home studio setup.
And so say you've got the 8 songs coming out, will you be doing videos or?
That's the plan.
Yeah.
I struggle with video ideas. That kind of visual creativity is not my forte. So I'm I try to hook up with other people who are maybe a bit more visual than I am.
Fair enough. You did the thing around Bristol. That was really cool.
That was an old haiku fan actually, who went into video editing for a living.
Oh, nice.
So he was sort of, because he was a fan anyway, and he was sort of fed up with doing all the corporate gigs that he had to do. He gave me a really good price for doing that video.
Oh, okay, nice. So professional.
Yeah.
Was it his idea then to do it in that, or did you have the storyboard idea?
Yeah. Well, what tends to happen when I work with other people is I say, like, this is kind of the feeling that I want the video to have.
Yeah.
So in that one, I said, look, I want it to show my inclusivity and the fun side of what I do at a live show.
Yeah.
So he kind of took that idea and ran with it, and I think he did a fantastic job. I think it totally sums up the kind of social element that my live show has.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's really nice, and I think it suits the song really well. The kind of
it's a fun song, and I get people joining in. With the little chant at the end, I get people joining in, and so on. So it everything just kind of seemed to click into place with the video for that one.
Amazing. So you're busy then. You've got a busy couple of weeks coming up. A couple of months, I guess. So you're not going to do it as an album. You're just going to do single after single and keep things coming, sort of.
Yeah. Well, I've kind of more and more come to the conclusion that the album as just a collection of songs is kind of a dying format. They might see a resurgence, but at the moment it's not healthy.
Yeah.
But I've got an idea in my head for more of a concept album, because I think there is definitely a place for albums that work as an entire piece of art, from start to finish. So I've got an idea in my head, but that could be several years in the making.
Yeah, fair enough. You don't want to rush that kind of thing.
Because So at the moment, I'll keep reminding people that I exist every month or so. Good. With a new song.
Good, I'm glad to hear it. Have you got any gigs coming up that you want to let people know about?
So I'm doing a songwriters circle in Exeter on the 29th of September.
Okay, cool. So that's
I can't.
Next Sunday.
Next Sunday. So I don't know if this will go out by then.
Yeah, hopefully I'll get out in the next day or two.
Cool. After that, I've got to the south again next year. I think that's March next year. I've got a few more on my website, but I can't think what they are off the top of my head.
Okay, cool. No worries. I'll put all your links there so everyone can find you. What would you say is the best way to support you then? To give your page a like, and
yeah, well, I mean the best way, I guess, is Twitter, because that's where I'm most active.
Yeah.
So anyone who follows me on Twitter will probably get more out of it than liking my other things. But that said, go and like everything.
Yeah. It's easy enough. Jump on Facebook, Instagram. Is that it? Do you use LinkedIn or anything like that? Or Snapchat?
No, I've not got into Snapchat. I'm struggling with Instagram, although I'm trying really hard.
Yeah.
To keep up with Instagram.
Fair enough.
But yeah, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Obviously, YouTube. I've been more and more active this year. And then Instagram, and of course Spotify and all those places as well.
Awesome. Well, it is really impressive just seeing. That's why I wanted to chat to you. Obviously you're still an indie musician, and you're one of the ones that's doing really well with it. And I was just wondering.
Yeah, I
go on.
Not as well as I would like, but I think that's an artist thing, isn't it? To never be happy with what you've got.
I guess that's part of it, yeah. And just a little bit of I don't know. Yes, to keep patient with it and keep doing what you're doing. I think it seems to be going really well.
Yeah, I think that's I have my ups and downs like any artist, where sometimes I'm thinking, oh, is this worth it? And then like an hour later, I'll be, oh, this is brilliant.
Oh, that's good.
So
that's a quick turnaround. Well done. What would be your best advice then to kind of new musicians who are just dabbling at home? They've not gigged and they've not shared their music, and they're a little bit apprehensive about it.
Well, there's enough open mics out around at the moment. That's what that's what open mics are for. That's what they should be for. Is giving people a chance to get a bit of experience of playing in front of other musicians and so on, and get out and meet people. And when you're at the open mic, talk to everyone. I guess that's the big advice.
Nice.
Just talk to everyone and be nice to everyone.
Yeah. Do you still go to open mics when you can?
Occasionally, more so when I've been touring. If I've found myself with a night off, that'll be more when I'll try and find an open mic in a town I've not been to.
Yeah.
Or so on. I occasionally, just for sort of social reasons, I'll go to a local one, just to catch up with some of the other local musicians and so on.
Yeah.
But it's like I say, I think it's good for open mics have their place for helping people kind of get to a certain level.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, maybe I want to give those people their chance and so on. So maybe
that's a nice
maybe stay away from them too often.
Oh, fair enough. Awesome. So are you gigging any further? I mean, you're not quite. Whereabouts are you based? Sorry, are you in Wiltshire?
Wiltshire, yeah.
So not too far. Are you?
Yeah.
Are you going to be gigging any further afield? Like, do you ever come over to Cardiff?
I've tried to get gigs in Cardiff, and I found it really difficult. The only one I did get was the Blockheads.
Oh, okay.
So to go from nothing to that was something. But
yeah.
No, I've tried. If you've got any suggestions, please send them my way, because I'd definitely be interested.
Okay, nice one.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like to say or talk about while I've got you?
No, I don't think so. I think we've covered quite a lot, haven't we?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I really do. I'll definitely be sure to send everyone your way, and hopefully I'll come and catch a gig at some point. If you play in Bristol, there's no reason I can't come down to one of those at some point.
Yeah, cool.
But thank you so much, and good luck with the new singles. I look forward to checking them all out.
Yeah, I'll send Fall at Your Feet over to you.
Please do. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Wicked. All right. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll speak to you again soon. Okay.
Yeah. Cheers, Bex.
Bye.
Bye.